There will come a day when you wake up and realize you've been trading your time for approval, your peace for a paycheck, your power for a title that doesn't belong to you. And in that moment of awakening, a fire will ignite, a whisper will echo through your chest. I was not born to build someone else's dream while mine dies in silence. That voice? That's the truth breaking through the noise. You weren't designed to live at the mercy of a manager's opinion or the limitations of a clock. You were designed to lead, to create, to own your hours, to own your value, to own your life. But you've been trained otherwise, conditioned from birth to follow instructions, fit in line, color inside someone else's blueprint. Trained to fear risk more than regret. Trained to trade autonomy for artificial security. Trained to shrink your soul into a job description written by a stranger. And maybe you've gotten good at it. Good at showing up, blending in, doing what's expected. But good is not why you were born. You were born to be free. And freedom begins the moment you decide, I will work for myself and no one else. Not out of arrogance, not out of rebellion, but out of truth. Because the greatest injustice is not being overworked, it's being underused. It's spending your life climbing a ladder, only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. So this is the moment, this is the choice. To stop renting your energy and start owning your impact. To stop clocking in for comfort and start cashing in on your calling. To stop begging the world to value you and to start valuing yourself so fiercely that the world has no choice but to respond. That's where it begins. With value. Because no one will ever pay you what you're worth. They'll only ever pay you what you believe you're worth. And if you don't raise your own internal stock price, the market never will. So you raise it. You stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an asset. You stop seeking positions and start building platforms. You stop asking, who will hire me? And start asking, what can I create that no one can ignore? This is not about quitting your job. This is about reclaiming your mind. About refusing to let someone else's system define your ceiling. About waking up every morning and knowing that what you do today, your effort, your choices, your grow this building, your empire, not someone else's. Because if you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to build theirs. And they'll pay you just enough to forget how powerful you are. But you are remembering now. You are remembering that your time is a currency more valuable than money. That your ideas are worth more than your instructions. That your gift, when cultivated and unleashed, becomes the foundation of a life no one can lay off, downsize, or delay. You were not made to serve systems. You were made to create them. And if you want that life, the life of ownership, of freedom, of full alignment, you must become someone who no longer depends on permission. Because no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the title of creator or owner or entrepreneur. You must become it. In your mind, in your habits, in your identity. You must act like the boss of your life long before the world sees you that way. That means showing up for yourself every single day. Not because someone is watching, but because you are. Because you know what's at stake. Because you refuse to outsource your greatness to a job description. And yes, it's hard. Because the world is designed to reward obedience, not originality. To applaud safety, not sovereignty. To pay you just enough to keep you comfortable, but never enough to make you powerful. And if you want power, you have to earn it. Not through titles, but through transformation. By deciding that every minute of your life belongs to you. That your labor is not for sale to the lowest bidder. That your energy will no longer be consumed by systems that do not reflect your soul. This is the reprogramming. This is the revolution. And it begins with a mindset. I work for myself and no one else. That mindset is not a slogan. It's a contract. Signed not with ink, but with intention. Sealed not with words, but with relentless action. Because working for yourself doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow. It means showing up like your name is on every result. It means owning your time like it's a fortune. It means holding yourself to a standard that makes the world adjust, not the other way around. You stop working for likes, for titles, for praise. You start working for freedom, for legacy, for alignment. And alignment is where the real power lives. When what you do reflects who you are, when your actions echo your purpose, when your days are built around your values, not someone else's vision, that's when your work becomes holy. Not just profitable, but prophetic. Because when you work for yourself, your work stops being a transaction and starts being a transmission. It carries your energy, your soul, your signature. People feel it. They don't just pay for what you offer, they pay for who you are. And when who you are is rooted in truth, in courage, in vision, you cannot be ignored. But let me be clear. This path is not for the faint of heart. It will demand everything fake to fall away. It will demand that you face your excuses and retire them. It will demand that you lead yourself through confusion, through setbacks, through silence. No boss, no schedule, no blueprint, just you, your vision, and the discipline to show up every single day like everything depends on it, because it does. That's what working for yourself really means. It means discipline when no one checks in. It means fire when there's no fuel but your own faith. It means building when the crowd isn't clapping and growing when the market isn't watching. It means you don't get weekends off from your purpose. You don't get to clock out from your calling. You don't wait to feel like it, you become it until it's second nature. And when that switch flips, when your identity aligns with ownership, you begin to see the world differently. You stop waiting for opportunity because you realize you are the opportunity. You stop chasing clients, approval, validation, because now you attract. Your energy speaks before your product does. Your presence walks into rooms before your brand ever does. Because people feel something rare, a person who is truly free. And nothing is more magnetic than freedom earned through fire. So yes, others may doubt you. They may not understand. They'll ask why you work so hard when there's no boss, why you stay up late, why you invest in yourself before you see the return. And you'll look them in the eye, not with arrogance, but with clarity, and you'll say, because I don't work for a paycheck. I don't work for applause. I don't work for safety. I work for ownership. I work for impact. I work for myself. And in that moment, everything small inside you dies. All the shrinking, all the second guessing, all the stories you inherited about what you should do, how you should live, what's realistic, they burn. And from the ashes rises the truth. You were born to own your life, not rent it, not borrow it, not audition for it, own it. Every decision, every failure, every win, every pivot, every new chapter. That's what working for yourself really means. It means standing in the mirror and realizing you're already the CEO of your life. The only question is, will you lead like it? Will you show up like it? Will you carry yourself like the architect, not the assistant? Will you walk into your days like they're sacred, because they are? Will you stop negotiating with procrastination and start honoring your own power? Because power isn't given, it's owned, it's earned. And once you claim it, everything changes. You stop waiting for someone to choose you. You choose yourself. You stop hoping for recognition, you recognize your own worth. You stop asking for space, you take it. You fill it. You shape it until it fits your vision. And from that vision, you build. Not in theory, but in blood, sweat, systems, and strategy. You build with urgency, not because you're afraid, but because you're awake. You build with clarity, not because it's easy, but because confusion is too expensive. You build with humility, not because you doubt your worth, but because you respect the process. And here's the truth. No one tells you when you work for yourself, everything is your fault, but everything is also your freedom. No more blaming bosses. No more pointing fingers. No more waiting for someone to fix what only you were born to build. You become the solution, the system, the answer, the source, and the world starts to shift around you. People feel it. They sense your certainty. They hear it in your voice, see it in your eyes, feel it in your energy. This one doesn't serve fear. This one doesn't play by borrowed rules. This one is building something real. And that realness, that raw, unapologetic, unfiltered truth, it's rare. which means it's valuable. So you don't just work for yourself to escape control. You work for yourself to become irreplaceable, because no system can replicate soul. No algorithm can mimic authenticity. No marketplace can undervalue someone who knows who they are, what they bring, and what they're building. That's you now. Not a follower, a founder, not a servant of someone else's vision, a sculptor of your own. Not a cog in the machine, but the one who owns the machine, designs the machine, and when necessary, tears it down and rebuilds it better. You stop being the labyrinth, become the leverage. That's the shift. That's the revolution. That's what happens when you stop working for everyone else and start working for the one person who truly matters, the future version of you, watching every move, waiting for you to lead. So lead, not timidly, not occasionally. Lead like you were born for it, because you were. This is your moment. The world doesn't owe you clarity, it owes you nothing. But you owe it to yourself to rise, to claim every hour, every choice, every breath as sacred, to no longer spend your life in service of systems that will forget your name the moment you leave, because the legacy you crave cannot be handed to you. It must be built, and only the bold will build it. So be bold, not reckless, not loud, but deliberate, quietly relentless, bold in your conviction, bold in your standards, bold in your refusal to abandon your purpose just to make others more comfortable. Because when you work for yourself, comfort is no longer your God. Growth is, clarity is, legacy is. And legacy doesn't come from staying in line. It comes from breaking the mold. It comes from saying no when others say yes, from standing up when others sit down, from choosing the harder road, because the destination is worth it. And it is worth it. It is worth every early morning when no one claps, every late night when no one checks in, every moment of doubt when all you have is a vision in your chest and a fire in your spine. Because that fire, that's the signal, that's the proof. That's the calling card of someone who refuses to let their life be dictated by fear or comfort or tradition. Someone who doesn't want to just make it, they want to make it theirs. And making it yours means sacrifice. It means saying goodbye to the version of you who waited, who hesitated, who negotiated your dream down to something more reasonable. That version has to die so the real you can be born. The one who leads, the one who owns, the one who builds not just for profit, but for power, for peace, for purpose. Because when you work for yourself, you realize money is not the goal, freedom is. Freedom to create what you want, to say what you mean, to work how you choose, to walk away when something no longer serves the vision. And that kind of freedom, it is not given, it is earned. It is carved from the rock of resistance, forged in the furnace of fear, molded in the moments when quitting would have been easier, but you stayed. You built. You bled. You bet on yours again and again until it wasn't a bet anymore. It was a blueprint. That's how empires rise, not through luck, through loyalty. Loyalty to a higher standard. Loyalty to a future that doesn't yet exist, but must. And you are the bridge to that future. You are the living proof that someone can walk away from what is expected and step fully into what is extraordinary. Not just in results, but in mindset, in presence, in impact. Because when you finally stop working for everyone else and you step into the life that's yours to lead, everything begins to shift. Not instantly, not easily, but undeniably. And the world, it won't understand at first. That's okay, because you weren't born to be understood. You were born to be unforgettable. So build something they can't ignore. Lead a life they can't copy. Work for yourself in a way that makes others realize they can too. That's how the world changes. Not through noise, through ownership. Ownership of your choices. Ownership of your voice. Ownership of the minutes no one sees, the sacrifices no one applauds, the discipline that doesn't trend but transforms. Because the truth is, most people never live free. They only taste it in their dreams, flirt with it in their fantasies. They talk about it, post quotes about it, maybe even read books on it. But when it comes time to choose it, when it comes time to walk away from the illusion of safety into the forge of self-leadership, they hesitate. But not you. Because deep down, you've always known you were never meant to blend in. You were never built for bureaucracy, for begging, for boxed-in thinking. You were born to build the box and then break it when it no longer fits. You were born to define what success looks like for you, not copy-paste someone else's metrics of status. You were born to own your days, your time, your truth. To show the world what it looks like when a human being becomes the most powerful version of themselves, not because they were allowed to, but because they decided to. And it all starts with that decision. I work for myself and no one else. It becomes your anthem, your posture, your edge. You begin to walk through life differently. You're no longer seduced by titles, by promotions, by validation from people who don't even know your purpose. You know who you are now. You know that your name carries weight because you're the one who built it. You know your work matters because it comes from the deepest part of you, not some external demand. And the more you own that, the more the world begins to respond. Not with easy streets, but with alignment. The right people show up. The right opportunities find you. The right paths begin to open, not because they weren't there before, but because you weren't yet the person who could see them. Now you are. Now you walk with vision in your veins. Now you've become the kind of person who doesn't ask, is it possible? But rather, what's the price and am I willing to pay it? And the answer is always yes. Yes to the struggle. Yes to the solitude. Yes to the pressure. Yes to the price of greatness. Because you've tasted what it feels like to live under someone else's rules and you refuse to go back. Not now. Not ever. You've crossed the line. The point of no return. And on this side, you don't just hustle. You honor. You honor the dream. You honor the discipline. You honor the divine responsibility of becoming what most people are too afraid to even admit they want. Free, focused, fully owned. You don't work for everyone else anymore. You don't live for the next paycheck, the next weekend, the next escape. You live for impact. You live for meaning. You live for that quiet, thunderous knowing inside you, the one that says, I'm on path. I'm in power. I'm building something real. And that's everything. Because once you taste what it feels like to be in full alignment, you'll never settle for fragments again. You won't tolerate mediocre conversations. You won't entertain half-hearted commitments. You won't bend to fear disguised as practicality. Because now, your compass points to truth, and truth does not shrink to fit small narratives. And the truth is this: working for yourself is the most spiritual thing you can do. Because it demands integrity. It demands that your thoughts, your words, and your actions match. It demands that you look yourself in the mirror every single day and ask, am I building what I believe in, or am I just surviving in someone else's structure? And if the answer is anything less than fire, anything less than freedom, then you know it's time to shift, to elevate, to recommit to the life you promised yourself you'd live before the world distracted you. This path is not for everyone. It is not for those who need to be told what to do. It is not for those who fear being seen in their rawest form. It is not for those who would rather clock in than wake up. But it is for the misfits, the rebels, the ones who feel that pull in their chest that says, there has to be more and I will find it or I will build it. The ones who would rather fail on their own terms than succeed on someone else's. The ones who understand that freedom isn't something you're given. It's something you take back, inch by inch, through the fire of discipline and the grit of decision. And when you build your life from that place, you don't just change your bank account. You don't just shift your career. You transform your entire existence. You stop chasing peace, you create it. You stop chasing passion, you embody it. You stop chasing permission, you become the authority. And every day, you rise with the knowing, I don't need the world to validate me. I validate myself through my work, through my commitment, through the standard I uphold behind closed doors. That's the real wealth. That's the power. That's the price of working for yourself and the gift. Because when it's yours, when it's built by your hands, your mind, your spirit, no one can take it from you. You may lose clients. You may face setbacks. You may fall. But you'll never fall as far as the one who never stood on their own 2 feet. Because you built this, and you can rebuild it. Better, sharper, clearer, stronger. So when the world asks, who do you work for? Let them feel the answer in your eyes. Let them hear it in your tone. Let them see it in the life you lead. You work for yourself. And because of that, you own everything. And ownership changes everything. It turns your time into treasure, your effort into equity, your days into declarations that say, this life is mine. This path is mine. This mission, I chose it. Not because it was easy, not because it was obvious, but because it was true. Because deep inside, you knew no title, no boss, no salary could ever give you what you were meant to give yourself, full authority over your existence. And once you claim that authority, you don't go back. You don't wait for a weekend to breathe. You don't rely on vacation to feel alive. You design your days to energize you. You structure your work to reflect you. You build a reality where you no longer ask, is this it? Because you already know, this is mine. And that's the most sacred thing you can build, a life that belongs to you. A life where your voice is not filtered, where your schedule reflects your priorities, not someone else's deadlines, where your work doesn't drain you, it drives you, because it's tied to your soul, to your name, to your vision. This isn't about hustle. This isn't about ego. This is about ownership. And ownership means showing up on the hard days, not because someone told you to, but because you told you to. It means holding the line when it would be easier to lower your standard, to follow the crowd, to slip back into the comfortable chains of predictability. But predictability never made legends. Predictability never changed the world. Predictability never set a soul on fire. Only ownership does. And now it's yours. Because when you work for yourself, you don't wait for life to hand you momentum. You create it. You are it. You wake up every day with the understanding that if it is to be, it's up to me. And that kind of power, it's not always loud. It's not always celebrated, but it is undeniable. It's felt in how you move, how you speak, how you decide, how you refuse to betray your vision, just to fit into a system that was never built for your brilliance. You've graduated from that now. You've stepped out of the shadow of should and into the spotlight of must. And that must, that fire in your belly, that relentless calling to create something real, it's not a phase. It's your compass. Follow it, feed it, fight for it. Because when you do, when you fully step into it, you'll realize you never really worked for them. You were always working for you. You just needed to remember who you are. And now that you've remembered, don't you ever forget it again. Don't forget the taste of your own power once it's been awakened. Don't forget the sound of your inner voice when it finally speaks louder than the noise. Don't forget the clarity that comes when you choose yourself fully, unapologetically, without delay. Because the world will try to distract you. It will tempt you back into comfort. It will offer you chains dipped in gold-safe jobs, steady pay, predictable misery. But you'll know the truth now. You'll know that safety is often the silent assassin of greatness. That stability without soul is slow spiritual suicide. That nothing will ever satisfy you more than living a life where every breath, every move, every moment belongs to you. You'll know that working for yourself is not just an economic shift, it's an evolution, a rebirth into sovereignty, a refusal to settle, a commitment to become non-negotiable. And once you become non-negotiable your standards stop flexing with the tides of opinion, approval, and fear. The world begins to bend to you. Opportunities align. People respect you more not because you asked for it, but because your energy demands it. You walk differently, not because of what you have, but because of what you own. Your time, your choices, your path. And let me tell you this, the path of ownership is narrow. It's steep. It's often quiet, but it is glorious. Because while others are begging for Friday, you're waking up every day to the life you chose. While others are measuring time in hours, you're measuring it in impact. While others work to escape, you work to expand. Because now, you don't just work for yourself. You live for yourself. You build for yourself. You rise for yourself. Not selfishly, but sacredly. Because a life fully owned is a life fully lived. And that, right there, that is the real freedom. The freedom to wake up and say, today, I answer to no one but my mission. Today, I don't report to fear. I report to vision. Today, I'm not surviving. I'm building. I'm becoming. I'm blazing my own trail. That's the fire you carry now. Let it burn. Let it guide you. Let it remind you every single day why you started. Because when the noise gets loud and the path gets lonely and the doubts come knocking, you'll return to this truth. I work for myself and no one else.